The experimenter didn't stop the experiment. Why not? Because he was caught in his role too. And he admits, I got caught up in the role of warden of a prison. I wasn't a psychologist doing research anymore. I was trying to keep him from rebelling. They were thinking about taking him down, locking him in the real prison downtown so they couldn't escape. They were worried they were going to get out. And then they went to hearings, and when they were in the hearings, all they had to do was walk out and say, I'm not going to do this anymore. But they went back to their cells when they really wanted to pardon. They wanted to get out. And they said, no, we're not going to pardon you. And they went back to their cells. Why would they do that? I mean, all they had to do was walk off. Do you see the power of the role? I'm trying to get you to see the power of the social structure. Do you see how it can define people's behavior? And once you're defined, then you begin to act in that definition and you're not yourself. You're playing a role, and afterwards you can feel horrible for what you did. People can get caught up in a group of people and hang someone who they find out later was innocent, but they thought they were guilty, and feel terrible afterwards. In a riot, people's behavior change. So norms change through social interaction and values. And later on, we can be very weirded out by our behavior and how quickly our behavior can change. Where some of you kind of go, wow, how quick this happened within 24 hours. They were really into the roles. Now, the roles eventually become part of your identity. Do you get that? It becomes a part of who you are. When people retire, often they have a very hard time to be retired because they lose their status, they lose their position, they lose their role. 6 months after they retire, they think it'd be great not to get up and come to work. But 6 months later, they're bored and they wish they hadn't quit. In fact, we have lots of professors here who retired and came back because they didn't like retirement. I mean lots, not just one. 15 or 20 that I know of. Some of them in their 70s still teaching because they like to do this. Okay? Lots of us like to work, believe it or not. I'm for one that like to. So you see Zimbardo's point. Anybody can be evil. Unbridled power always leads to corruption. It corrupts the individual. It corrupts the situation. When one party gets in control and they get the power, they become corrupted by the power. And then another group comes in and says they won't be corrupted, but 8 years later they're corrupted by the power too. And we trade back and forth, don't we? Each getting corrupted as they... It reminds me of the professional athletes, why they act the way they act sometimes. They get caught up in that role and that power and that sense that the rules don't apply to them anymore. And all of a sudden they find themselves in jail. Kind of like some people from Enron. Does that make sense to you? Okay.